Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm excited to share with you the insights from my research, which devolves into a crucial aspects of contemporary business leadership. Especially, we'll be exploring the profound impact of inclusive leadership on various dimensions with the workplace. The central focus of our study revolves around understanding how inclusive leadership significantly enhances workplace diversity, boosts employee engagement, and elevates overall team of performance. In the dynamic and diverse landscape of today's corporate environment, effective leadership is not just a necessity, it is a catalyst for positive organizational change. So, let's embark on this journey together, exploring the intricacies of inclusive leadership and its transformative influence on workplace. Now let's look at the objectives of my study. The first objective is impact on workplace diversity. The second one is relationship to employee engagement. And the third one is relationship to high performance teamwork. Our first objective is to delve into the impact of inclusive leadership on workplace diversity. We aim to uncover how leaders who embrace inclusivity contribute to fostering diverse and vibrant workplace. Moving on, our second goal is to evaluate the relationship between inclusive leadership and employee engagement. We'll explore how inclusive leadership practices influence the proactive commitment and self-expression of employees in their tasks. Last but not the least, our third objective focuses on investigating the relationship between inclusive leadership and high-performance teamwork. We'll explore how inclusive leaders contribute to the collaborative efforts among team members, ultimately elevating overall team performance. Now, let's look at the importance of inclusive leadership. The first one is diversity as a strength. Inclusive leadership actively champions diversity, recognizing it not just as a checkbox, but as a genuine asset. Leaders who embrace inclusivity foster an environment where differences are celebrated, leading to a richer and more innovative collective. The second one is employment engagement. Inclusive leaders contribute significantly to employee engagement by valuing each team member's unique perspective and contribution. They create a workplace where individuals feel seen, heard, and motivated to actively participate in their roles. Team performance enhancement. The positive impact of inclusive leadership extends beyond individual contribution. It plays a pivotal role in elevating team performance through the encouragement of collaboration, open communication, and positive social environment. Alignment with HR practices. Inclusive leadership strategically align with human resource management's practices by integrating inclusive principles into activities like staffing, training. Organizations can effectively communicate their vision and cultivate a committed, proficient, and inclusive workforce. Ultimately, organizational effectiveness. Inclusive leadership contributes to overall organizational effectiveness. It fosters fairness, equity, and positive workforce cultures, leading to increased employee satisfaction, productivity, and improved team dynamics. As we proceed, we delve into each of these aspects, providing a comprehensive understanding of how inclusive leadership influences workplace dynamics, employment engagement, and team performance. Let's explore impact of workplace diversity in more details. Okay, So what's now my literature review? The literature review of my study devolves into foundational concepts which is crucial for our study. Let's start with inclusive leadership. Inclusive leadership is a style that actively values and integrates diverse perspectives, fostering a sense of belonging and equity with a team or an organization. The key aspects of inclusive leaderships are visibility, accessibility, and fostering a sense of belonging. The second concept is workplace diversity. Workplace diversity talks about something that beyond numbers actually, because it emphasizing an inclusive environment that celebrates differences. Another key aspects of workplace diversity is something that integration versus assimilation. It's contrasting with traditional actually approaches. Inclusive leadership seeks to integrate, not assimilate. Another concept of my literature review is employment engagement. In this concept, we are looking for two things. One of them is proactive commitment. Engage, which means engage employees go beyond tasks, demonstrating enthusiasm and active involvement. Another thing that has been described in this concept is that the role of leadership, the significant influence of leadership styles on fostering engagement. Now let's look at the historical perspective of the inclusive leadership. Inclusive leadership originated in 2006 by Nember and Edmondson as words and deeds by a leader or leaders that indicate an invitation and appreciation for others' contributions. And this concept has been evolved over time, and with some people like Atwater and Carmel, which emphasizing leaders' visibility, accessibility, and availability in interactions. In the concept of inclusive leadership, we emphasize on three subjects actually, that which emphasize on commitment, openness, and uniqueness. Inclusive leaders commit to understanding and valuing diverse perspectives and backgrounds. Actively, they promote openness to diversity, celebrating differences rather than marginalizing them. Recognize and appreciate the uniqueness of each team member, encouraging diverse contributions. So now let's look at what is the impact of inclusive leadership on workplace diversity. In this subject, we are looking for fostering an inclusive culture. Inclusive leadership actively cultivate an environment where diversity is not only acknowledged but celebrated. Leaders play a crucial role in shaping organizational culture by promoting fairness, equity, and appreciation for differences. Moving on this subject, inclusive leaders go beyond rhetoric, taking proactive steps to promote diversity in all aspects of the workplace, actively seeks diverse viewpoints, and ensure that team processes capitalize on the potential benefits of a diverse team structure. In the inclusive leadership culture, there is a celebration of differences. I mean that rather than marginalizing distinction, inclusive leaders encourage team members to engage in discussion about their unique feature. This is not only influences work practices but also impacts decision making. This is contributing to a richer and more innovative working environment. Now let's consider the relation between inclusive leadership and employment engagement. It has two impacts. Actually, the first one is it has positive impact on work engagement. Work engagement is categorized by proactive commitment and self-expression in task fulfillment, and also it motivates people, and this motivation can be considered as a key outcome. Leaders who embody inclusivity positively influence employees' willingness to take on initiatives and contribute actively to organizational goals. Now let's look at the integration of inclusive leadership with HRM practices. In this field, we can consider 2 points. The first one is strategic development of the workforce. Inclusive leadership ensures that HR practices effectively communicate and implement organizational vision, fostering a workforce categorized by a strong sense of belongingness and equity. Another thing is building a committed workforce. Inclusive leadership actively contributes to the development of committed workforce by emphasizing a sense of belongingness and equity. Now let's look at the methodology of my research paper. In my research paper, I utilized a quantitative methodology for studying inclusive leadership, which impact on a Starbucks store manager in Canada, and I had a face-to-face interview. My participants were include 15 store managers from diverse Canadian Starbucks location, actually in Vancouver. The way of my data collection was face-to-face interview with, to gather information on the base of quantitative insights on inclusive leaderships. That which I look for diversity, engagement, and teamwork. And the data analyst thematic analyzed applied to quantitative data for extracting insight for my gathering information. In this face-to-face interview and my presence in the different Starbucks location, I found 3 subjects. In Starbucks, I saw actually the impact of inclusive leadership. Store managers emphasize the transformative influence of inclusive leadership on fostering a positive workplace culture, actually. And in a matter of workplace diversity, I saw that inclusive leadership positively correlated with an inclusive culture that actively promoted and celebrated diversity. And also in the subject with the employment engagement, I saw that managers reported increased employee engagement with inclusive leaders fostering enthusiasm, commitment, and active involvement. In relation with teamwork performance, I understood that inclusive leadership positively contributed to heightened teamwork performance, emphasizing collaboration and collective goal achievement. Actually, in this area, there are some challenges too. For example, some managers highlighted challenges in implementing inclusive leadership, including the need for ongoing training and organizational support. But however, my overall impression is that participants overwhelmingly endorsed the significance of inclusive leadership in creating vibrant, engaged, and high-performing team. Now let's talk about practical implications that can be applied to inclusive leadership study. The first one is leadership development programs. Implement targeted leadership training program to equip leaders with skills aligned with inclusive practices. The next one is HRM integration. Strategically align inclusive leadership principles with HRM practices, emphasizing staffing and training for workforce commitment and belonging. The third one is diversity celebration. Actively endorse diversity through policies and practices that celebrate differences, fostering a culture where team members feel valued and included. Another implication can be noted to quantitative assessment. Develop metric and key performance indicators to quantify the impact of inclusive leadership on diversity, engagement, and performance. The other implication can be long-term perspectives. Emphasize the enduring impact of inclusive leadership, investing in sustained efforts to reinforce inclusive behavior and monitor lasting effects. Another implication can be proactive challenge addressing. Identify and mitigate challenges faced by leaders, providing additional support and resources to create an environment conducive to inclusive leadership. And lastly, if I want to talk about the main findings of my study, I can say that inclusive leadership significantly improves workplace diversity, engagement, and team performance. Alignment with HRM practices is crucial for organizational effectiveness. Quantitative assessment and long-term perspective provide comprehensive insight, and proactive addressing of challenges is vital for fostering an inclusive organizational culture. And in the matter of support for my thesis statement, I can say that my finding confirmed that inclusive leadership actively supports diversity, fostering fairness and equity. Integration with HRM practices align leadership styles with organizational vision. Recommendations provide actionable insight for organizations seeking to enhance leadership effectiveness and HR outcomes.